Production support for Gadget was provided by the University Catholic Center, the Jesuits, and Gateway, the beauty and power of one.
Hello, and welcome back to Gadget at thetechstop.net. It's a place where it's always time to get your geek on. I'm your host, Father Robert Ballister of the Society of Jesus. I'm a part of the California province of the Jesuits. We're the largest religious order in the Catholic Church, and we're here in the Center for Apostolic Technology at the University Catholic Center on the campus of the University of Hawaii. Now, we've got some CES footage for you today. It comes from the Kodak booth. They have a few products, including one that will probably surprise you that it's come from the brain of a company like Kodak. But first, we're going to start with a piece of technology that we've received from our friends over at Kensington. They sent us another piece of tech from their SlimBlade line of products. This is actually their presenter media mouse. Now, I know what you might be saying, another mouse. I mean, how exciting could that be? But this is actually a pretty cool piece of tech. Now, it's got that nice design that you've come to expect from the Kensington products. This is a 2-button mouse. It even includes this little scroll ball. It's sort of like a trackball. It's not really a wheel, which allows for 360 degrees of movement. It's pretty cool. If you want to surf the web, go forward, back, up, down, left, right, and more functions can be built into it as more developers start to take advantage of it. It's wireless. It works at 2.4 gigahertz. It's an RF, not a Bluetooth mouse. And the dongle is actually stored in the battery compartment. So just like the CI75M, when you remove it, it starts the mouse, and when you put it back in, it shuts off the power, which greatly extends the life. It's designed to be a mouse on the go, but I've actually been using it as my desktop mouse for the last couple of weeks, and I gotta say, it's pretty comfortable. I normally like a mouse with a little bit more heft. I prefer the Logitech designs that sort of let you claw it, but this has actually become quite comfortable. I never thought I'd like a slim mouse, but I really like this. However, the mouse design is only part of the coolness of this device. You see, if you flip it over, you'll find that it has a little keypad, a little control pad at the bottom here. Now, there are two modes which are controlled by this little switch. In the first mode, which is set for right now, it acts like your standard mouse. So if you take a look here, I can actually just use it as a wireless mouse. I can bring up all the little programs, I can move my screens around, everything you would expect normal from a mouse. But when you flip it over, it also allows you to use it as a remote control. In this case, I'm controlling the video. I can control the audio, I can control volume, I can control pause, forward, back, I can pick my individual tracks. It's actually a pretty neat function for those who want to use their PC as sort of a multimedia center. Now, like I said, there's two modes. So if this is your media center mouse, what does the other mode do? Well, that's a pretty good question. I'm going to show you here. You see, it's also designed, as the name implies, for those who do presentations on the road. In this particular case, I've got PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint up on the window. If I switch it over, I now have turned this into a presenter mouse, which does two things. First, it activates the ability for me to turn on a little laser pointer here. Let's see if I can burn out the CCD on the camera, which is quite useful. If you've ever done a presentation, it's always nice to be able to point at what you're talking about. But the other thing it lets you do is it actually lets you run your PowerPoint presentations directly from the mouse. So turn this thing upside down, flip the switch, and no longer do you have to worry about the cursor moving because it disables the mouse functions and it just turns on the media presentation functions. So I have full control here of which slides I'm looking at. I can control the order, I can control the speed, I can go forward and back all the way to the beginning and the end of the presentation. It's actually a really, really good use for a travel mouse. If you're looking for something to accompany you on those long trips, if you want something for your home office or your desktop, if you want something to be your media remote control, or if you need something because you're a serious presenter and you need a companion on the road, you may want to check this out. These are going right now for about $60 to $70 online, and you can find out more about them by going to the Kensington website at www.kensington.com and looking for the SlimBlade media presenter.
So we're here in the South Hall at the Kodak booth, and I'm here looking at the Kodak V1273. This is new for CES. It's a 12-megapixel camera. It does SD, HD video. It has smart capture technology, which means that it won't take the picture until it sees faces, which is a nice way to not waste pics or not to ruin a holiday photo. Now, some of the really cool features about this is the fact that it has a touch-sensitive screen in the back here. It's somewhat like the iPod Touch or the iPhone, which allows you to have a very easy way to scroll through your photos. It also does tagging, which means that you can use the editing tools built into this camera to crop, to label them so that you have a nice categorization of your photos. And one of the best things about this is the fact that this is only $299. So a 12-megapixel camera that can do HD, SD video, has its own editing suite and a touch-sensitive screen. That's a fantastic deal. So we've got the Ep43 here. Now, this looks like just any other all-in-one printer. It's got the scanner, the copier, it does photo paper, it does regular paper. That's not the big story here. What's cool about this is that the consumables don't cost more than gold. That's right. With a lot of other printers, we're used to paying very little for the printer, but an arm and a leg, $40, $50 for ink cartridges. Well, on this one, the black ink cartridge costs $10, and the color ink cartridge costs $15, which is fantastic. Now, that would be great in and of itself, but of course it comes with the Kodak quality photo. Now, one of the cool things about this unit is that it comes with software, if you can see over here, which is this facial retouch. If you click on this image really quickly, you'll find that it can find the face automatically. I didn't draw this in. The software determines what the face is, and then it will fix it. You can choose different parameters, remove blemishes, remove highlights, remove hair from the eyes. Now, I'm not sure if you could see, maybe, James, if you could zoom in on these pictures, you can see a before and an after of what the software has done automatically. So this is not Photoshop work. I didn't have to do anything to make it look like this. It just turned out. So it removes all the blemishes from the face. It's got a stray strand of hair. It removed that. And you go from this to this, literally with just a few clicks. When you think of Kodak, you're probably thinking of printers, photos, cameras, something with digital imaging. You don't necessarily think of security. But here at the Kodak booth, we found something that might just catch on. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that there's a counterfeiting problem. And I'm not just talking about counterfeit CDs or DVDs. I mean counterfeit products, batteries especially, that have been branded but don't necessarily come from the manufacturer that they say. If you look here, we've got two identical packages. Now, these both say Kodak battery, but one of these is counterfeit. Now, what Kodak has done is they've been working with one of their partners to develop a technology that embeds microparticles within a particular substance. It could be the paper, it could be the resin that the battery is covered in. And what this allows them to do is to check if something is counterfeit. Now, I have Mike Pollux, is it? Mike Prue from, I'm sorry, you work with Kodak, but could you show us how this counterfeiting system works?
Sure, it's really simple. Once we've embedded our particles into an item, at a level which is forensically undetectable, they can only be found with our own device. And a simple push of the button tells us that this battery is a fake. And we'll do the same test on this next battery. The green light comes on, it says that battery is the real item. And it's as simple as that to create a barrier that the counterfeiters can't get over in replicating your product.
And the nice thing about this technology is that they've taken to heart this idea that if the counterfeiters can find it, they can duplicate it. So the key is to make sure that they can't find it. These microparticles they're impossible to duplicate. Unless you are the manufacturer, the real manufacturer, you will not be able to make products that can pass this simple test. Now, this has a very, very wide application for consumer electronics, for manufacturing in general, in that it protects the brand, it protects the consumers, it makes sure that the product that you're putting into your cell phone, into your laptop, into your camera, actually belongs there. So Kodak is not just giving us good images, but they're making sure that we can take them long into the future.
That's all the time we have for this episode of Gadget. If you want to find out more about the Kensington media presenter, or see our coverage of Kodak at CES 2008, you can go to our website at www.thetechstop.net. Click on the Gadget tab and you'll be able to find all of our episodes in high resolution, or find out more about exactly what we do at the Center for Apostolic Technology. If you want to send us an email message to tell us that we're doing a good job, a bad job, an awful job, or if you want to suggest a product for a future review, you can write us at gadget@thetechstop.net. Well, I've been your host, Father Robert Balacer of the Society of Jesus. This has been the Center for Apostolic Technology. And remember, there's no uberGeek without you.